told you.
I'm on fucking vacation!
Hello everyone, welcome to another movie review. I just saw Nobody 2, which of course is the sequel to Nobody from a couple years ago, 2021 I think, which is a movie I only watched one time. I did rewatch it for this, and it's exactly as I remembered, pretty solid action movie, but nothing special, it's not quite on the John Wick level, which of course, everybody draws a comparison. This and John Wick are like, very similar movies. You got a guy who lived a very, crazy life back in the day and sort of is retired from that, and now he's sort of drawn back into that life again of killing people and beating up people and whatnot, for different reasons, It's not an exact copycat of John Wick, even though you do have some of the same people involved. Like, it's written by the same guy. So it's kind of like how Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer were both written by, the same guy. You can't really say it's a ripoff if it's by the same writer, And also David Leitch, who worked on the John Wick movies, was, a producer on this, the Nobody movies. And again, you do have that same writer coming back to write this one. And this movie looked very fun, like from the trailers. You could tell, as you do with these action movies, when you make sequels, they just get more over the top and cheesier as they go along, and that's the vibe I got from this one. They're going for the family vacation theme for this one, and it really worked. It was a fun movie. Nothing amazing. I think I like the first movie better. Like I said, I did rewatch it. What I remember from the first movie specifically was the bus fight. I remember, the bus fight being pretty popular. I think everybody remembers that part. And then the last scene in the warehouse with the shootout and all that stuff. I really enjoyed that in the first movie, and the dynamic with him having a brother and, Christopher Lloyd, his father. I thought it was cool that they gave him, like, family dynamic, and the three of them team up and take out all the bad guys at the end, And in this one, too, you do get them back again, which is fun. You got RZA playing his brother, which is, really cool. Like, you wouldn't expect, like, Saul Goodman and RZA to be brothers, and then their father is Doc Brown from Back to the Future. You know what I mean? Like, that's really strange, but it works. Like, it's fun. I'd like to see a movie just with them. Like, I'd like to see, like, an origin movie. You know what I mean? Like, when they're younger and, like, how this all came to be. Like, I don't know how they, plan on doing more movies if they make a franchise out of it like John Wick. But I'd love to see, like, a backstory. You do get hints of it in this one a little bit. But it's just funny to me, like I said, the dynamic between them. You wouldn't think in a million years, like, who came up with this? But yeah, another thing I want to say too, like, when the first Nobody came out, I was like, Bob Odenkirk is going to be an action guy? Okay, that's kind of weird, because, he's more of the comedic, guy. Drama also, obviously, with Better Call Saul and, Breaking Bad. But he really killed it in that movie. Like, you could tell he got in shape, and he put in the training, and again, in this new one, he's still at it, and this is post-heart attack, if you guys aren't aware. He had a heart attack on the, I think it was like halfway through the final season of Better Call Saul. He had a heart attack on set, which was, scary, and he's killing it, man. He's still kicking ass and taking names, and I actually saw him a couple months ago in New York, when I was on vacation. We went to the Kelly Clarkson show. We weren't allowed to take photos or anything, so I don't have any photos of this. I do have a photo of the ticket, but we were not allowed to take photos in the audience. And, I would have tried to sneak one, but I was trying to be respectful. They had people, like, eyeing people like hawks. Like, if you have your phone out, you're going to get in trouble. Like, I saw one lady trying to sneak some pictures, and she got in big trouble for that. So, yeah, it was the Kelly Clarkson show. Bob Odenkirk was on there promoting, like a poetry book he wrote with his kids. And then, Sadie Sink from Stranger Things was on there too. They were on the same episode, so you could look it up if you want to watch it. You can't see me in the audience, really. You only see, like, very brief glimpses of where I'm sitting. If you want to go back and watch the episode, like I said, it's back in May, I want to say it was, early May. But yeah, it was fun seeing him. He looks, you can tell in person, like he's cut, like he's, in shape. And he wasn't promoting this movie, obviously they weren't doing that yet. But yeah, he's definitely put in the hours and the effort, I can tell, in the training. Now this one, like I said, not as good as the first movie. The sequences were fun. The final set piece, which takes place in the amusement park area. I didn't really go over the plot too much. Basically, Hutch and his family are going to go on a vacation because, he's always busy doing his, his side job is now his full-time job, basically, of beating up bad guys. Basically, the movie explains he's repaying a debt that was caused by the first movie. So he's basically, like, almost 24/7, just kicking ass all the time. And he never gets to see his family. So they basically say, let's go on a vacation so we can, just take a break from all this. And, of course, on vacation, things go awry in this little small town, this little amusement park area of the small town. And you have Sharon Stone playing the main villain. And basically she overlooks the whole town. She has money and drugs running through there. It's like a front, I guess. The sheriff is corrupt, the main guy of the town is corrupt. So, yeah, there's a lot going on there. So that's the basic plot of the movie. Basically, Hutch and his family are in the middle of this drama, and all hell breaks loose. So the theme park setting was great. I love that. I love theme parks. That was my favorite thing as a kid. Every year, looking forward to summer vacation. We'd always go on a road trip. Specifically, usually we go to Orlando because we live in South Florida. We would always go to either Disney World or Universal. Sometimes we go to Tampa and go to Busch Gardens. But yeah, I love, I always have great memories of stuff like that. So I appreciated that. They did a good job of, like, incorporating, like, in the final scene, like, incorporating, like, the games and the rides and, like, with all the explosives and, it was very creative. It was fun. It reminded me of, like, the end of the first Zombieland a little bit. And I mentioned Sharon Stone. So she's the main villain in this. And this movie knows exactly what it is. And she knows exactly what movie this is. And she is hamming it up in this movie. There's a scene where she's like, there's a character talking about her and how evil she is, like kind of like a voiceover a little bit. And you just see her like dancing in the background. It's oh my god, so if you look up hamming it up in the dictionary, there's a picture of Rhino from Kraven the Hunter holding a picture of Sharon Stone in this movie. Yeah, she's really over the top in this one. Very fun movie, like I said. Everyone knows what movie this is. Same thing with the first movie. The first movie was you could tell had a little bit more of a serious tone as compared to this one. That movie knew what it was as well. It knew it was a just generic action movie, but, made it fun. This one, yeah, it got sillier. Again, fun movie. It's very short. I want to say it's less than an hour and a half. I didn't time it or anything. There's no post-credit scene, no mid-credit scene, so once the movie's over, you could just leave. The last movie had a mid-credit scene if you missed it. But yeah, fun movie, but nothing really special. I wouldn't really rewatch it a lot, I don't think. But totally popcorn movie. Like, if you want a fun time, turn your brain off, action movie, go see this. Like, it was fun. Yeah, so I'd probably give it like a C+. Nothing really blew me away per se. Like I said, they did get creative with certain things at the end. But none of the sequences really like stood out like the bus scene in the first one did for me. There's an elevator sequence in this which is pretty cool. And like I said, the last set piece was pretty fun, but it didn't really, amaze me or anything. So, and then the director of this movie, I'm not familiar with him. It's a different director from the first movie, so it still feels like the same series and everything. It's just when you got different people working on each movie, you kind of lose a little bit of some of the spark of the first movie, or vice versa. And again, I feel like with RZA and Christopher Lloyd, the family dynamic with them, I want to see a little more of that. You do focus more on Hutch's son, and his wife and his daughter. But I'd like to see more of them, like I said. I kind of just want a spin-off movie with them already. So, but yeah, I don't know if they plan on doing, like I said, a franchise with more movies or spin-offs or anything like that. But I'll go see them. These are good movies. They're solid. Nothing compared to John Wick, like I said. I have to make that comparison. I just do because everybody, will anyways. But yeah, these movies are definitely not as brutal as John Wick. There's definitely less kills, more hand-to-hand action, I would say, less gunplay. Oh, and I gotta say, I take it back. There is one scene involving RZA fighting some guys I enjoyed. You'll know it when you see it. And there's also a really nice shot in the movie that's underwater. It's towards the end. You'll know it when you see it. I wanted to just highlight those two things because they were really good. I almost forgot to mention those. But yeah, other than that, again, this movie, it is what it is. Like, it's not a masterpiece. It's not John Wick, but it's fun, Is it better than the first one, in my opinion? No, it's not. And I wouldn't even say there's more action in this one. If you had to compare, it's probably equal. Maybe actually less. I don't really know. I'd have to do like a side-by-side or something. But yeah, because with John Wick, each sequel just got bigger and bigger and bigger. So, it is what it is. So I'm going to give this a C+, which would be... what's a C+? 7, 8, 9, 10. 6 out of 10. I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10, C+. Nothing special. But still a fun movie. Hats off to you, Bob Odenkirk, for still doing these. I don't know how many more you plan on doing, but I'll go see all of them. Yeah, fun movies. And I want to shout out to Connie Nielsen, I think that's how you say her name, plays his wife in this one. She did a good job, too. She had some dramatic parts. Again, nothing amazing. It's no Academy Award-winning movie, but, the cast did a good job for what it was. Yeah, so... But anyways, let me know what you thought of the film in the comments. Do you prefer this movie or the first one? And let me know what you thought of the movie, like I said. So, and do you know if they're going to make a third one or anything? I haven't heard anything yet. So they're probably just going to wait to see how this one does first and then, maybe do another one. But yeah, fun movie. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10, like I said. So next week, I don't remember what's coming out. There's got to be something coming out next week. I know the week after that is Caught Stealing with, Darren Aronofsky directed that. I'm going to see that one for sure. And the Jaws re-release in IMAX. I'm going to check that out too. But next week, I forget what's coming out. I'm going to have to, look it up. I'm just totally blanking. And September's right around the corner. I feel like this year's just flying by. But anyways, let me know what you thought of the film in the comments. And that's about it. Thank you guys for watching, and have a good one. Bye-bye.